few things. On top of the, Lincoln Riley being great offensive mind, he is. But I also think the points per game, for instance, is a little bit overrated. These days, there's so many teams that are scoring high 30s, even, low 40s. I don't even think USC led the conference in scoring last year. I believe Oregon did. So I think from a scoring standpoint, he's a great offensive coordinator. I'm not saying he's not, but I think the points could be a little misleading. Number two, you guys made the point a few callers ago about recruiting locally and kind of saying, we got new assistant coaches. True. But in the end, it's speed of the leader, speed of the pack. When Lincoln Riley got here, that would have been November of 22, I believe. He needs to start doing his homework. Who are the freshmen? Who are the sophomores in Southern California that we need to hone in on? That comes from the top, not the assistants. He also have the option of, again, hiring the guys from the Southern California Tide. He hasn't done that. So let's be honest. He hasn't really prioritized. I don't think he has. I might be wrong, but I got a feeling all of us, you guys do a great job, by the way, but we all read the same stuff. We all read the same insiders. It starts from him. He should know, hey, these are the guys we need. These are the guys we need to prioritize. And as we know, he's prioritizing Texas. Number two, my other point was the coaches, these assistant coaches, and I'll use Belk and I'll use Henderson, especially as an example. These two dudes, they could go anywhere, I bet, in the nation. And they didn't sign up for this. Henderson did not sign up to leave the NFL to coach the best players in the world, to come to USC and probably go, you know what, not to be a developmental guy. I'm not coaching that. I'm thinking I'm going to get 5-star dudes. Well, as we're talking about, NIL is kind of screwing them right now. So can you imagine? You can't tell me Alabama or if Larry Johnson leaves Ohio State, how much money they're going to offer this guy? He would leave in a heartbeat. Because you know what? We have the packages and deal. We can get these dudes. They're going to offer that guy money. And Belk could probably go anywhere as well in the nation. We talked about Entz, what his plan, totally understand, and the other guys. But I'm just thinking of those two guys. And then the last thing, Julian Lewis, and I think they're just totally, this is where all the money's going is to him. But the same thing is like, you know what? He hasn't shut it down. And he's probably looking at, you know what? If we're not going to get guys around me to make me better and the team better, screw it. I will go to Colorado and I'll probably get double what I'm getting at USC. So I know you have a lot of callers going on. Thanks for taking my time. I just want to throw that in. But, those are things I kind of, believe, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. The last thing you said about Julian Lewis kind of freaks me out. Because if you remember, there's a guy who won a Heisman named Bryce Young. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but either he was super strong, or he had actually committed. I think he committed to USC.
Yeah.
And he was trying to build a class, and he couldn't get anyone to come play. And he said, hell, I don't need this. I'm going to go to Alabama, win a national champion, the Heisman. I mean, so when you say that, it is worrisome that if his camp sees the fact that USC can't bring in a line to protect him, receivers to throw to, etc. Now, again, we just signed Corey Sims, and we took him away from, a situation where it was Penn State and Missouri, but there were some players in it for Sims. It wasn't like he just fell in our lap. And I know that he was a guy that Julian, you say he's average?
No. I'm saying, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think I'm on the same page. I mean, wouldn't you? I think all of us would have expected maybe some better receivers as well. I'm not saying anything against Sims.
I'm going to, one thing I'm going to trust.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to trust this staff of who they want to go after and who they're going to get. So far, they've hit on their. I'm not a stars guy. I'm not a 247 rivals. Whatever on 3. I think they do it again. We're not going to, but they do a great job. But just because they call the guy this, tell me what was Drake London? How they rate Drake London as a receiver? Anyway, let's stick on to your points. So Julian Lewis, he's not. I mean, come on, he's not getting he's not getting he's getting a good chunk, but he's not taking money away from these other players. I don't know the situation of the NIL. Quite frankly, I'll defer to guys like Gabe, and other people in the space that have a little more information. I mean, I have information on it, but I'm just not comfortable speaking to it like the other guys are. As far as the coaches, they're not going to hang around. Like you said, they got plenty of options. I talked about it already in the show, so I'm not going to hit that again. So there's plenty Yeah, the USC better get crap together because these guys are not going to sit around for mediocrity. Any of them, including Lincoln Riley. And then I'll go back to it again. As far as the local talent, I love the local talent. I'm a St. John Bosco alum. You know, I go to the high school games here in California, in Southern California, a lot. You know, I live right down the street from Los Alamitos. I go watch these games. I enjoy watching them. However, these kids didn't grow up Trojan fans like we've seen in previous generations. That's what the Helton era did to these kids. They're all quacking up north. That a lot of these guys don't know our coaching staffs. They don't have relationships with coaching staffs. Our coaching staffs try to come in last minute and try to build these relationships. It's not that easy. And couple that with NIL not working, it's no surprise how we're doing. And I'm not blaming the coaching staff on that one. So I think as they're here, they're going to get their roots. I think you're going to start seeing more and more California kids getting to know these, building relationships with these coaches, and then we'll see more and more California. As far as the first recruiting class for Riley, yeah, if you look at who he was recruiting, he's recruiting the guys like Brown, right? That were guys that he was already recruiting from Oklahoma, and they had such little time, they just stuck on those recruits and tried to throw together a class. So those are my points. Chris, Matt, anything to add?
Nope.
All right. Sorry. Hey, Chris, thank you so much.
Just a few things. I'm not going to take up too much time. I know you guys got to get going, but as far as Julian Lewis is concerned, I mean, I believe if anybody's really worried about him flipping, if he ends up flipping before the season, we have a shot at flipping him before December 15th or on signing day, December 15th. I don't think Colorado's a factor. If you look at the recruiting class right now, it's ranked 80th or 81st.
Great point.
Depends on what recruiting site you want to look at. And our only competition is Auburn. They're ranked 13th right now.
And they're losing. And they're sorry to jump in, but they're losing recruits left and right as well. Their class is kind of falling apart too. Good point.
Yeah. So I really don't believe Colorado is really a factor. Yes, Dion can, talk his game and he sells a good one. But at the end of the day, they only got 5 recruits in their 2025 class right now, and it's not looking good for them because they still got to go out and win.
Yeah. I think winning will. Well, I mean, Matt said it the best. I mean, once they see the defense, right? The biggest problem was watching that Grinch defense, the one that I bootlicked for a while. That really turned off a lot of recruits, and so the best way to fix that is going to be to show on the field, which So Brent, if you're out there, I am right now saying, yes, I think this defense is going to be remarkably better than it was last year. And that there will be, when there's recruits out there watching this defense, they will see themselves in this defense. Now they have to go out there and do that. But I think that'll be a big change. And the other part of that is again, this coaching staff is getting to know the local coaches and local players, and they've been recruiting them now for about a year now. So I mean, that's also going to pay us some dividends. Sorry, go ahead.
I believe that as well. And as long as a competent product is put on the field this year, with Deonton Lynn, Coach Henney, Coach Nua, Coach Ent, Coach Belk, I believe everything will start falling into place. I know we're not getting recruits right now, but at the end of the day, it's still a long way from March 15th and February 2nd for 2025, and we still got a long way to go. And I believe we'll end up having some flips coming up during the season, and maybe some new guys down the pipeline. So I believe we have a lot to look forward to going into 2025. Hopefully, I believe we'll have a great season offensively and a better season defensively for sure. And recruiting the Southern California kids, talking to some people that I do know on Twitter that are connected with USC, these kids really don't care about the USC legacy that most fans, know about. They, especially with California kids, they just care about, how much money they can get, and that's why we're losing kids to Texas A&M. No one from California grew up rooting for Texas A&M.
Right? Yeah. No McHale did not have a Texas A&M T-shirt in middle school when he's throwing the football around the backyards. They're trying to tell me.
Exactly.
Right.
Or when he was a child, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Marco Jones. It came down with Marco Jones with the baseball scholarship. The new head coach at Texas A&M ended up keeping his baseball scholarship on the table. So that played a big factor in his recruitment. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Los Angeles or College Station. I mean, I know LA is not for everybody, and I'm sure College Station has some beautiful things. But I don't think these kids grew up dreaming of going to College Station. But there is no denying money is a very powerful tool, and you know, good for these kids. If they're gonna get a bunch of money, then they need to make sure that they're not gonna forfeit money down the line. Having the opportunity to be coached up by this defense. You know, you might get a couple dollars today, but you might be sorry in the future that you didn't, because that first year contract and then sticking in the league and getting your second year contract, that's going to make any of this. And I don't care, $3-4 million, any of this NIL money is going to look like pocket change.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
exactly.
Totally agree. Yeah, great call.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, you waited 40 minutes. Let me ask you one more quick question, because I'm sorry, Matt. He's on hold for 40 minutes. Really quickly, what do you think about the offensive line? 'Cause you know your stuff. You know, what do you think about twofold. You know, how do you think the offensive line is going to be this year, and what do you see the recruiting? How are you feeling on recruiting?
I believe if Josh Henson just believes in his abilities as a coach and lets all the kids play their natural positions and stop doing the mix and match stuff. This is, you know, at the end of the day, I don't believe he needs to do all that. If he believes in the product that he has and believes in his capability as a coach, I believe we'll be fine. At the end of the day, I believe we have a strong left side in Elijah Page. The kid was committed to Notre Dame for a reason, and he would have been a freak of nature or a force at Notre Dame. And I'm glad we have him. So I think he's going to be our lockdown, left tackle. I think Emmanuel Pregnon is going to improve this year. I think our center play is going to be above average. I think it will be fine. I mean, if anything, the only problem is going to be the right side of the line. But if we have improvement from our offensive line coach that we think is going to happen this year, I believe we'll be fine. And I think Miller Moss is going to run the offense a lot differently than Caleb Williams did last year, which, it might look a little bit different. And then offensive line recruiting, winning changes everything as well. Last year put a lot of sour taste in a lot of recruits' mouth, I bet. The offensive line didn't play well at all throughout the season, and it just got worse going throughout. So, except for the bowl game. And but I believe this year, if everything, like I said, Coach Henson believes in his abilities as a coach, I believe everything will be fine and recruiting will be on uptick.
See, Uncle Boom, that's why I gave you the platform. Uncle Boom knows ball. Appreciate that. Great breakdown. Thank you so much for calling, and thanks for even watching our show, by the way, and calling in. Appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, great call. I wish all the calls could be like that. Thanks. I hope you call again soon.